So I think it was like yesterday I put up this post about the ego and the post explained how the ego, if the ego takes the forefront or the primary lead in your life, the ego is the one that has the problems with people, or your problems in life tend to be people, and it's because of the ego. And I must really agree with that because it's the ego that demands so much, and it's the ego that demands things at your pace, your time, and your perception. So when it comes to respect or things of reciprocation that you strongly believe that you deserve, that's the ego. Because honestly, in life, you don't deserve anything of what's on your plate, what's your terms. That whole deserve, or my life should be this, or my life should be that. It doesn't matter because that doesn't change a damn thing. When the circumstances come, the circumstances are what they are. I mean, you could put every understanding or interpretation or breakdown to the situation, but the situation will be the situation. It's what it is, and it's, you know what it is. At the end of the day, it's your mindset. It's your approach. It's how long you let thoughts sit in your head, congregate in your mind, and where you allow these thoughts to go to based on these events in your life. So if your ego's strong, you're gonna find yourself locked up in a lot of situations and a lot of misread feelings, misread emotions. It's going to lock you into that, and it's going to make you battle. It's going to make you fight, and you're going to be fighting this battle. And this battle, technically, can only be won when a whole bunch of people in this world submit to your way. And it's just not going to happen like that because your perception is your perception. And it comes down to the closest people that your perception is your perception. Your vision is your vision. I mean, how you're educated, how you comprehend life, how you comprehend situations, and a basic ideology of how you view life is going to be a strong indicator to how fast you react to the people and situations around you. And the key is what do you do? What do you do when you feel the rage of the ego demanding a certain life, and you're right there at the tip of your tongue, trying to hold your tongue, trying to guard your anger, trying not to release, because sometimes it feels so good to release. It feels so good to exercise that inner demon of anger for the missed expectations of human beings around you, and you just want to let it go. That's not unleashing the beast. That's being weak. It's just being weak. And although it may feel so powerful to exercise that kind of demon beast and rage out and get angry and say things or conflict your mindset according to how you see this event in your life on somebody else, you could possibly go really wrong, and it could backfire, and it's just not good. And you got to salvage that. You got to salvage those feelings on the inside. You got to digest it. You got to interject it with something positive and break it up and let it go and reject that feeling. And that's the ego. And there's alter ego that takes your mind places, and you start to see things that just aren't there, and you start to feel things. You start to create a whole ball of emotions out of nowhere, like a fantasy ball of emotions on the simple situations, and before you know it, you're in a total mess. So it's not worth it. It's really not worth it. I mean, if you could evaluate yourself like this, I mean, if you believe in God, if you have some kind of higher level of belief, I don't like to project a certain kind of disposition of religion or how people are going to believe what they want to believe. People have their own motivations. Me, I believe. I mean, and if you have that faith and you're working hard to make your faith go stronger and trust in the path that you're living and not be scared and try to control the mechanical dynamics of everyday life and outcomes of how income comes and job and relationships, that's a given. And I mean, and if you work out, you take care of yourself, and your heart is good, and your health is good, and then your physical anatomy, I mean, you can handle yourself. I mean, ain't nobody putting their hands on you, ain't nobody threatening you. I mean, nobody's a threat to you. You can hold your own, or you have people that can protect you. I mean, what are you worried about? Are you worried about the society? Are you worried about the chit chat? Are you worried about people talking that don't know you and running their mouths? about things they don't know, that's the challenge. And when you reach that point where you could just walk and keep your mouth shut and only use your mouth to express the positive strengths in your character to empower other people, when you could do that, when you could keep your mouth shut, when you could guard toxic anger talk on all levels, even if you feel justified in your situation, when you could learn to guard your tongue and keep your mouth shut, but not shut where you're containing that kind of toxins inside you and you're just becoming a raging bull on the inside and you haven't released that stuff. It's still unhealthy, but if you could keep your mouth shut, cycle yourself through some positive sequential system that breaks apart that stuff inside you and it disappears, then you're fine. That's the key. You got to have the positive reinforcement that you're going to interject into your system. You got to know how to keep your mouth shut and just not run it, not let that evil demon beast out and verbally and physically or whatever energy, negative energy that thing wants to project onto other people that are not conforming to the perception of your life or conforming to that moment situation or just conforming to how you in generally think. I mean, you got to stop, because if you try too hard, it's just not right. So the message is, I mean, the ego, get in control with it, man. And the only way you can control your ego is if you build up your inner character, your inner spirit, your inner strength, and become more confident in yourself. And you're not phased. You just can't be phased by what people say, what people do, when people are non-compliant to the truth of how you live, and when people are just not understanding, not accepting, not appreciative the power that you bring into this life. You just gotta keep your mouth shut, humble your ways, and move on through life. And pray for these people. Pray for other people that have strength, wisdom, and understanding in their own pathway, and maybe one day they'll come around and they can feel what you're feeling. But if you're on that right path, keep going, people. And keep your ego in check. Shh. Keep your mouth shut. If it's not going to be conducive or positive to any situation, if you're not going to help people grow, if you can't communicate it diplomatically without putting such an I position on it, just keep your mouth shut. It's good advice. God bless y'all.